Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to go over some opinions I have because I am a lady with a bulldog camera and too many opinions, as we all know. I don't know if y'all have been updated with or up to date rather, with the 8 passengers, Ruby, Frankie, Jodi, Hildebrandt, Sitch, but I have a lot of thoughts about it, and so I wanted to talk about that today. If you are someone who wants to be up to date on it, there are a lot of channels that have covered it extensively. There's Marky, love him, and then also there is the Do We Know Them podcast, Lily and Jesse. They've been covering it quite a bit. And then also the Mormon Stories podcast as well has been covering a lot of it. So I will have all of that linked down below so you can fall down the rabbit hole because it's pretty crazy. So a few things that I wanted to go over. If you're unaware, Ruby Frankie, she had a YouTube channel called 8 Passengers. This is just super quick rundown, right? And it's her and her husband and her 6 kids. And she was a family vlogger. They are Mormon, they are Christian, whatever. And it was called out pretty quickly which didn't stop her from posting for a long time, but it was called out pretty quickly that she was very, very strict, like a very, very strict parent. She even one time took away her oldest son, I believe her oldest son's bedroom privileges, like having a bedroom's a privilege apparently, or having somewhere a bed to sleep in is a privilege. So she took that away from him and he slept on a beanbag for a long time because he played a prank on his little brother who was like 4 at the time, because he woke him up in the middle of the night, told him that they were going to Disney World. He packed and everything and he was so excited. And then he told him they weren't going. And like, that's harmless. Your kids got to bully each other to get character, like, come on. So she took away his bedroom, and then later on even, the parents came out that they sent their son to a therapeutic wilderness program. That's something I'm going to talk about too. If y'all don't know, I went to one of those and I was dealing with a lot of issues. I don't believe that their son was, in my opinion, all speculation, obviously, the issues that would have been at the level of severity to which it would have made sense for him to actually go to one of those. Because like they were so strict that he couldn't do anything anyways. So it's like, what could he have gotten into? I believe that they did it as a punishment. Now, some people have said like, oh, not confused, but they'll have the misconception that something like that is a punishment. And some parents do see it as that and will send their kids off as a punishment. If it is seen as a punishment, that is going to be extremely traumatic for that kid, and that is not okay, and they are not going to get the help that you think that they need. Nothing is going to be solved. It should be seen as an opportunity to get the help that you need. It is therapy. It is a way for you to learn how to cope with your emotions, with your problems, with your anxiety, with your mental health hiccups in an environment where your friends aren't there, your family's not there, right? Like you're without walls, like you're forced to address these things that you've done and take accountability and stuff like that, right? I know that especially with Paris Hilton coming out and talking about Provo Canyon School, I actually had 2 friends that went there. It was horrific. It was one of the places that my parents visited before sending me to another place after the wilderness program. I had a great experience at the 2 places I went to, and I am alive today because of those places. I'm not saying everyone has a great experience. I'm not invalidating anyone else's. I do think that if Paris Hilton and other parents would not just send their kids away and actually do more research and actually visit these places. I got a pet cow when I went. Like, I was horseback riding every day. I was doing therapy, group therapy, like one of my best friends of my entire life, Alyssa, I met there. We actually, a bunch of us went to, not a bunch, like 6 maybe. 6 of us went from the wilderness program. We were there together, and then we also went to the other place together too. So we were like together throughout it for like 2 years straight. We know everything about each other's lives, our deepest, darkest secrets, like things we're most ashamed of, growing together, get through it together. Like, it's amazing. That's not everyone's experience, but from what I saw when I was there, people who saw it as a punishment, because that's how it was laid out to them with their parents, it was treated as that. They were like begrudgingly there and didn't accept the help or whatever, or maybe even didn't even like need it. I always personally think that should be like a very last resort instead of just like therapy in your hometown, having an open line of communication, things like that, right? And I understand that I am very blessed, very privileged. Well, that I didn't have any resources, that my parents had the resources to get me the best of the best at the time care with inpatient therapy and treatment. So just want to say that. But I think with Ruby, it's all about control. It's not about raising your kids in a Christian way to, love thy neighbor and be nice to each other and grow up to be like thriving, good humans. It's just all about control. And I think you can really see that through her content. And then that's also very interesting because it seems like Jodi was also controlling her. I think that's another reason why she had them break up, and her Jodi, or Ruby, and her husband, and had him, or not break up, but separate and had him removed from the situation so that she could have her and just like take control of her basically. Now there's a lot of aspects of this case that I think like really coincide. Like I've said multiple times in my videos recently, there's like the trifecta of delusion. There's occult, network marketing, and religion. Don't believe Ruby was involved in MLMs. She probably was, who knows, but there was Mormonism and like the cult aspect of Mormonism. I want to say this. Not every religion is a cult. There are people who are dum-dums and will be like, religion plus time equals cult. That's not what a cult is. That's not what defines a cult. There are sects of Mormonism that can be extremely culty. There are really nice Mormons that I'm friends with, that I love, that are great. Ones that are terrifying and act like this. There are ones like Lori Vallow who have been convinced that her children are zombies and have been taken over and have dreams of the future and unalive their entire family. People like that. That's also something like she was a Mormon too, right? So I think when someone is in a isolated community of this type of very intense religion, it does play a part of it. And I don't want to hate on any type of religion. I know people get like crazy about it, especially, oh my God, especially the Jehovah's Witnesses. Y'all are in a cult. That's a doomsday cult, okay? You can't convince me otherwise. Don't email me about it. I don't need to hear. Take your jean skirt somewhere else. You do have to recognize it. And it is a huge part of this, especially when you are isolated and you are already in such a like fundamentalist community. And then also the aspect of being family vloggers, when you are desensitized and putting everything online and yeah, maybe having like some people being like, hey, that's not even borderline abusive. Like that is abusive what you're doing to your kids. And then there's other people who are like, I do this to my kids too. So then you'll see the people who are calling you out as just haters and you'll be disillusioned to the fact of like, oh, that's not normal. Maybe I shouldn't do that. So your perception of normalcy relating to your family and your children and all that is completely skewed because of the attention that you're getting and because you're creating an echo chamber for yourself. And that is what she did. Now, also something that I cannot get out of my head, Jodi's niece, they, preferred pronouns, they did an interview where they said that Jodi, first of all, it's all insane, absolutely insane, the recounting that they did of their experience with Jodi. However, they were saying that Jodi would accuse them of certain very serious things and that they were like, I've never done any of this. Like I'm 15 or 14, 16, whatever. Like, what are you talking about? And they were saying that Jodi would say, oh, well, I had a dream about it, so therefore you did it. Like, this is what happened. And that's delusional and crazy. Don't do that. But I think that Jodi did that a lot. She's completely delusional, in my opinion. And I think that that's what she did with Ruby as well. Because Ruby's sister came out with a video where she said, like, I'm not my sister, I'm not her crimes, whatever. Great, we know that lady, cool. But she came out, and the audio on that video sucks, by the way. It's awful. I'll try to have Ethan fix it. It'll probably still be awful because it's filming in a giant empty cave. But she literally in there said like, yeah, we were cut off from her and we didn't like what she was doing. And, we couldn't really do anything. And we didn't know the depths of like, and the severity of it or whatever. And Ruby's sister was saying that Ruby was like yelling at her mom one day and making up memories from their childhood that never happened. And don't get me wrong, something can happen that's traumatic in your childhood that like, hey, maybe your siblings don't know about. However, with what we know about Jodi and what Jodi has done and how Jodi seemingly has taken control of Ruby, and Jodi has also convinced other people that she dreamed of their crimes or their indiscretions or what they have done in the past, it sounds like Jodi convinced Ruby of all these things that had happened, and then maybe also Jodi convinced Ruby of things that her kids did, which also brings us to the awful and horrible allegations that Ruby made against her youngest two children. I'm not going to repeat it. I'll leave a link down below. You can go find it. But she accused them of doing something horrific, which doesn't even make sense in the environment that they lived in because they weren't allowed on the computer. They weren't allowed to do anything. And also children that young don't know anything like that unless it's taught to them. So it doesn't really make sense. But again, I think that Jodi was convincing Ruby that her children had done all these things because she dreamed it. What? I dream I can fly. And that I boink Henry Cavill. Those things aren't true. Someone had asked me recently in a Q&A I did on Instagram what I thought of the Connections and Moms of Truth group. And that is Jodi and Ruby's group. Jodi's though, technically. And I think it's a cult. 1,000,000%. I believe that it is a cult. That is my own opinion. And in my opinion, it checks all the boxes of the bite model. It checks all the boxes of everything. The influence continuum, all of that. I'll have those things linked down below so you can check them out. But I do think that it is a cult through and through. Again, that's only my opinion. What do I know? I just have a YouTube channel about cults and scams and unethical things, right? But let's go through it. They break up families. There's a lot of isolation happening, a lot of accusations, a lot of punishment, sleep deprivation, withholding food, ridiculous punishments for things that seemingly never happened. Total control, behavior control, information control, thought control, emotion control, the bite model. I do think I am going to start doing like update videos. I might have to have my baby strapped to me to get out update videos like on time, because those obviously have to have like a quick turnaround, which is annoying, but it's fine. So I think I'm going to start doing update videos on this. And then there are a few other things I want to do update videos on too. Just, opinion pieces and going over stuff. But I just couldn't stop thinking about it. Those two things together that, it really seemed like that's a habit that Jodi has, is trying to convince people that the delusions that she has in her head that she thinks that these people have done are the truth. And that's wild. And that's what a lot of cult leaders do. And I know you might be like, Chelsea, you call everyone a cult leader. I don't. I really don't. I mean, if the shoe fits though, if the rose-colored glasses fit. So let me know your thoughts below. What do you think? I'd love to know. My God, I sound like Joy Sparkles. Just kidding. No, I don't. That girl's crazy. Please do watch out who you are giving your internet currency to, meaning like your time, your watch time, all that. Even on TikTok, for instance, I just mentioned Joy Sparkles. That girl is, in my opinion, insane and extremely unethical and just crazy. Those are not good words to say. However, I think it's very unethical what she's doing. And there's a difference between covering something with grace and just having it being like an open conversation and then actually like exploiting it. Just like there's a sliding scale of just sharing a picture of your kid and then exploiting them and being abusive and, duct taping them and starving them in your house. Sliding scale. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. I know this is a heavier topic, but I just could not stop thinking about it. I even texted my sister about it and I was like, I have to make a video about this. I just made those two connections between Jodi and her, thinking her crazy thoughts are true and, her dreams and all that and her accusatory dreams. And then what Ruby's sister said. And then also with Lori Vallow too, she was in they were all Mormon and they were in a little cult of their own. And then these people are in a cult of their own. And it's crazy. I need to see if there's a link between them because dear God, I mean, obviously there's the Mormon link, but it's I want to know if they knew each other. Yikes. All right. So have a great rest of your day. I'm sorry that was a little bit more heavy. I try to put little jokes here and there to make things not as sad. This woman, both of them, deserve what they deserve. Let's just say that. Let's not incite violence. They're going to get what they get. Okay. Have a great day. I'll see you in my next video. Subscribe. I'll have some resources down below. All the channels that I mentioned in today's video. And then also freedomofmind.org where you can find the bite model, the influence continuum, all that stuff. Okay, bye.